Following the involvement of active and former members of the military and police in the attack on the US Capitol in January 2021 and a foiled far-right coup in Germany in late 2022, there are growing concerns in many Western countries about the threat to and also within the security forces from far-right extremism. Several high-profile convictions, as well as critical external inquiries into the cultures of the police and military, suggest that the UK is not immune to this threat. Taking care to contextualise the extent and nature of this threat, this paper draws upon RUSI's research of far-right extremism, as well as prevention methods. It identifies where cultural environments encouraging racism, sexism, and other discrimination can lower resilience to extremism, and provides practical suggestions and recommendations for building resilience against extremist influences within the UK's security forces. It remains important to note that this paper does not seek to stigmatise service members in any way. Rather, it seeks to find positive solutions to help reduce vulnerabilities to violent extremism and defend those who defend us.
In our paper, we focus on 4 areas of concern across both services: vetting, training, governance, and separation processes. Starting with vetting. This is really crucial in preventing far-right extremism in the security forces. There's an active risk of infiltration by extremists, as well as potential for individuals to bring discriminatory and exclusive behaviors into the service. Current vetting measures range from self-disclosure and application forms, and in-person or online interviews, to online screening and tattoo screening. However, while these processes are already quite rigorous, we still identified certain limitations and challenges. And to improve these processes, our recommendations include standardizing vetting procedures and providing more guidance and training to those responsible for vetting. We also recommend strengthening online screening, expanding reference and social circle checks, and enhancing existing tattoo policies. And lastly, we recommend strengthening oversight mechanisms to monitor the effectiveness of vetting procedures and establishing clear protocols for reporting concerns identified during vetting.
Training emerges as a critical area of prevention with several important layers. First, training is essential to ingraining awareness and understanding of the threat. Evidence shows that prevention training must be delivered through trusted voices and in a way that speaks to the contexts within which the forces are operating. As with other important issues, this cannot be treated as a ticking of the box exercise, but rather needs to be explored in a meaningful way, which requires effective delivery and interactive environments. Additionally, utilizing training environments to foster a culture that counters stigma around mental health is also identified as a crucial factor in reducing radicalization risk. On the other side of the coin, there needs to be increased attention to the forms of training, such as initial training, combat training, and others, where unit structures are being built and reinforced. This is to ensure elements of hypermasculinity, racism, and other discriminations are not being utilized to delineate in-group, out-group dynamics as part of the training.
Also crucial to preventing far-right extremism in the security forces are governance and accountability processes, which play key roles in identifying cases where individuals become radicalized during their service. Both police and military in the UK have measures already in place barring discriminatory attitudes and behaviors, extremist views, and membership in prescribed groups. But there are a number of gaps in these processes that we discussed in our paper. For example, we found that although reporting concerns is generally encouraged in a training, there are often internal barriers to reporting. Reporting can be perceived as a betrayal of division unity and mark the individual as a disruptor. So we recommend enhancing the existing collaboration between the Ministry of Defence and civilian prevent teams and strengthening reporting procedures with anonymous reporting tools. And we also recommend clarifying guidelines on political activities and the boundaries of political involvement that is permitted, and reviewing disciplinary measures and discharge policies in cases related to far-right extremism.
Separation from the security forces is identified as a critical phase of vulnerability to radicalization. Any significant transition point, such as entering or exiting service, creates the potential for radicalization or de-radicalization due to the disruption of social structures and networks. The phenomenon of identity fusion, where personal identity becomes inseparable from the service identity, can pose challenges during separation and reintegration to civilian life. Masculinity expectations, along with stigma around seeking mental health help, may also hinder the transition of personnel. Recognizing and addressing the practical and psychological impacts of separation is crucial, particularly for those involuntarily leaving the services. Additionally, far-right groups actively target veterans in their recruitment strategies for their useful skills in planning and executing violent acts. Therefore, separation processes are essential to preventing far-right extremism in UK security forces. Comprehensive support programs, including mental health assistance, exit interviews, and tailored interventions, are highlighted as crucial for successful reintegration into civilian life.
In addressing the complex and pressing challenge of far-right extremism within the UK security forces, a multi-dimensional strategy is essential. This strategy should include effective vetting, targeted training, robust structures of accountability, and dedicated support during the critical transition of personnel out of the service. Implementing these recommendations will require a comprehensive and integrated approach, drawing lessons from existing frameworks and practices while also adapting to the specific needs of the service environments and the evolving nature of the threat posed by far-right extremism. This paper provides the first emerging insights from a broader project examining the issue, and we hope to continue providing more in-depth research as well as practical prevention approaches to the UK security forces.